Hi, this is Shara with Psychic Miss Paranormal Network. So say you find a really nice antique at an antique shop and decide to bring it home. So in a few weeks to a few months, you start to hear some mysterious noises around the house, and the lights start to flicker. You may have brought home a new family member along with that antique. Bringing home an object or an item with a ghost attached to it can mean some paranormal experiences in your house. Or not. Today I want to talk to you about haunted objects and how they could affect or not affect your home and your family, and also what could be haunting you. I've had many people ask me about bringing home antiques and about owning a haunted object. There are several situations that you could come across when owning a haunted object, so let's explore these now. First, let me say that it is quite rare that any haunted object may be what you may consider active. How active the ghost is depends on their personality and also the circumstances that led them to being attached to the object in the first place. Also, the atmosphere in your home plays a part in how the ghost or entity may or may not behave. There is no set way that an entity will act once it is in your home or wherever you are keeping the item. The type of entity, as well as its age, can play a role in the type of activity or inactivity that commences. If you bought a porcelain doll that has a 5-year-old child attached to it, and you have a house full of young children, you may start hearing stories of an invisible playmate from your kids. You may even notice noises or whispers. Most times, though, you would just have to take your child's word for it. If your doll contains a heartbroken, irritated mother suffering because she lost her daughter, then she may tend to be quiet with exceptions to lash out at disrespectful people, such as my haunted doll Deborah here. Another very important thing to take note of is the fact that you can bring home a very haunted object, perhaps possessing several entities, such as this mirror here. Yet there's no noticeable haunted activity present in the home. So how then does one know that they have one of these silent possessions? Well, this is where having strong intuition and psychic abilities comes into play. Or in my case, not only can I sense them and communicate psychically, but with my advanced paranormal experimentation methods, I can get proof that they are there via EVP and sometimes photographic evidence. I can also usually get enough information after some time spent researching and communicating with the entity. This mirror sits in my room, and there is no activity noticeable in my home from the entities attached to it. However, I do keep a seal on it. There was some activity a few days after I brought the mirror home, but usually benevolent entities will become naturally dormant in time. Usually, objects that are very active tend to have an experienced ghost, a different type of entity, or one that is of a far darker nature. So let me expand on that a little bit more. An experienced ghost is one that has been deceased for quite some time, usually over 100 years or more. These ghosts are usually well aware that they are indeed deceased and find that lifestyle quite interesting and entertaining. Of course, this isn't always the case. If you have an angry or violent ghost, the activity could reflect that. The good news is, in this type of situation, that the actual physical output that a ghost like this is capable of is less than their attitude or threats. In the paranormal world, though, it's a world where you should expect the unexpected, and where the only real proven rule is that there are no rules. If you happen to find yourself in the extremely rare category of bringing home an object that has an evil or demonic entity, well, that can go several ways too. It could take years for the entity's true colors to be exposed. Usually, evil entities won't make you wait too long to let you know that they are there. It is totally possible to mistake a malevolent entity for an angry ghost. They both have a negative nature and feel to them. They could both conduct bad behavior, but an angry ghost is usually not dangerous. This also depends on how experienced it is. If a ghost knows it is deceased and decides to live that life for God only knows how long, then they learn very well how to manipulate and control energy to a high level. This gives them a huge scare factor if they wish to employ that. Usually it's frightening but harmless. Once again, the paranormal rule applies. Moving on, I mentioned a little bit ago a different type of entity. Not all haunted objects are haunted with a ghost or deceased human. Some could be a different type of humanoid being, or even a being that is not humanoid at all. The entity could also be another worldly being, which encompasses a lot of spirits, entities, and life forms. The entity may not even be an entity at all. The haunted object may have a mass of sentient or semi-intelligent energy attached to it, which could cause some haunting symptoms, but usually remain silent. Even though this energy, which can many times be easily mistaken as a real entity, is silent, this does not mean that it does not exert some type of influence on you or others in your family. It could also have an effect on the atmosphere of your home. This would be such a slow process, you will probably never realize any changes whatsoever. This is why I keep seals on my mirrors. Mirrors make fantastic haunted objects. This is because they record and store energy. Over time, that energy becomes attractive to entities that have a similar energy signature. This is also why mirrors are a natural occurring source for a portal. Even a mirror that is not haunted will usually eventually become haunted if an active portal is present. This doesn't mean that all portals will become haunted. There are ways to work with haunted mirrors and portals to get and keep your desired results. Even more rare are entities of a darker nature, and these are usually non-human or otherworldly entities, and of course demons. Antiques are old, at least 100 years or more, and they have been consistently exposed to a wide variety of energy sources, emotions, elements, variables, and outside forces. Any and all objects have their own energy signature. Everything has an auric field, therefore it can attract more energy to it, both like or the same and opposing energy. Over the years, the energy builds and builds and keeps attracting more and more energies, which in turn attracts entities or makes existing energies stronger. So should you go out and get yourself an antique? Most antiques are not haunted. They may have that eerie feel to them because sure, they're old and they have that haunted association attached to them. Also, they contain a lot of diverse energies. This does not make them haunted, just kind of creepy. For the small percentage that are haunted, you probably won't even realize it. For the handful of antiques that are haunted with a more active entity, there's usually just a minute amount of haunted activity. If the activity is a lot more active, then in time it usually calms down. There's usually only an iota of antiques that make you want to burn them to a crisp or give them to your worst enemy. And just for the record, even a brand new item has a chance, although rare, to be haunted as well. So go ahead and enjoy your brand new antiques, and if you happen to bring home a new friend, let me know. This is Share with Psychic Miss Paranormal. Thanks for watching.